Stop everything you're doing right now. If you think you've seen embarrassment, if you believe you understand humiliation, if you've ever attended a wedding that went wrong, nothing prepares you for what I'm about to tell you. Hit that subscribe button immediately because this story will shock you, disturb you, and make you question everything you think you know about love, secrets, and the supernatural. Turn on those notifications because what happened at my wedding is something you'll never forget. This isn't just a story about food going bad. This is about discovering that the woman I married was hiding something so dark, so powerful, so terrifying that even now, 2 years later, I still wake up screaming. Stay until the very end. You need to hear how this ends. My name is Obiora. I'm 32 years old. And this is the story of how my wedding day, what should have been the happiest day of my life, became a nightmare that destroyed everything I believed about the woman I loved. I met Adaeze 3 years ago at a friend's birthday party in Lagos. She was beautiful, not just physically, but there was something about her presence that drew everyone in. When she laughed, the whole room seemed brighter. When she spoke, people listened. She had this magnetic energy that I couldn't resist. We started dating within a week of meeting. Those first months were perfect. She was intelligent, funny, caring. She came from a good family in Enugu. Her father was a retired civil servant, her mother a teacher. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed right. My family loved her. My mother, who was notoriously difficult to please, actually smiled when she met Adaeze. "This one is good," my mother whispered to me after that first meeting. "Don't let her go." I didn't plan to. 6 months into our relationship, I knew she was the one. By our first anniversary, I bought a ring. I proposed at a beach in Lekki at sunset, and when she said yes with tears streaming down her face, I felt like the luckiest man alive. We planned the wedding for a year. My family is Igbo, traditional, so we did everything properly. The introduction, the wine-carrying ceremony, the traditional marriage. Everything went smoothly. Adaeze's family was welcoming, warm, normal. There were no warning signs. No red flags. Nothing that made me suspect that the woman I was marrying was hiding a secret that would destroy not just our wedding, but my entire understanding of reality. The white wedding was planned for December 28th, a beautiful date, between Christmas and New Year, when everyone was in a festive mood. We'd booked one of the best event centers in Lekki. We'd hired the most expensive caterers. We'd invited 500 guests. Everything was going to be perfect. And for the first part of the day, it was. The church ceremony was beautiful. Adaeze looked stunning in her white gown, walking down the aisle while I tried not to cry from happiness. We exchanged vows, exchanged rings, kissed as the congregation applauded. It was everything I dreamed of. The reception started at 4 p.m. The event center was decorated beautifully, white and gold everywhere, flowers imported from South Africa, chandeliers sparkling. Our guests were arriving, dressed in their finest aso-ebi, taking photos, congratulating us. The DJ was playing good music. People were dancing. The MC was entertaining everyone with jokes. My best man gave a hilarious speech that had the whole room laughing. Adaeze's maid of honor gave a touching speech about their friendship since childhood. Everything was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Then came time for the food. Now, let me tell you about Nigerian weddings. The food is crucial. People will judge your entire wedding based on the quality and quantity of food served. We'd spent over 3 million naira on catering, jollof rice, fried rice, moi, assorted meat, fish, salad, small chops, cake, drinks. Everything top quality. We'd taste tested everything the week before. The caterers were professionals, highly recommended, with years of experience. There was no way anything could go wrong with the food. Or so I thought. The serving started around 6 p.m. The caterers brought out the warming trays and set up the buffet line. The aroma filled the hall, that delicious smell of perfectly cooked jollof rice, seasoned chicken, fried fish. My mouth was watering. I was starving. I'd been too nervous to eat all day. The guests started lining up at the buffet. Plates were being filled. People were returning to their tables, ready to eat. Adaeze and I were still at the high table, waiting for the guests to be served first before we'd get our own food. That's the proper way. Feed your guests before you eat. I was watching the crowd, smiling, feeling grateful that everything was going so smoothly, when I heard the first scream. A woman at one of the front tables stood up suddenly, her chair crashing backward. She was staring at her plate with absolute horror on her face. "What is this?" she shrieked. "What is this?" Everyone turned to look. The music stopped. The hall went quiet. I stood up from the high table, trying to see what was wrong. "Madam, is everything okay? Is the food not?" "Look," she screamed, pointing at her plate. "Look at this." I walked closer. Other guests were standing now, moving toward her table to see what the problem was. When I looked at her plate, My blood turned to ice. The jollof rice was moving. Not just steam rising from hot food. The rice itself was moving, writhing. And as I looked closer, I saw why. Maggots. Hundreds of them. Fat, white, wriggling maggots covering the rice, crawling out of the chicken, squirming through the fried rice. "Oh my God," someone whispered beside me. Then another scream from across the hall. Mine too. The food. Something's wrong with the food. I ran to that table. Same thing. Maggots everywhere. Crawling over the food, dropping onto the tablecloth, writhing in piles. Then another scream. And another. And another. Chaos erupted. All across the hall, guests were discovering that their plates were infested with maggots. People were jumping away from tables, screaming, some people vomiting from disgust. The beautiful reception hall had turned into a scene of horror. "Check the buffet," someone yelled. "Check the source." I ran to the buffet table with my heart hammering. The caterers were standing there, frozen in shock, staring at their own food. Every single warming tray was crawling with maggots. The jollof rice that had smelled so delicious minutes ago was now a moving, writhing mass of white worms. The chicken pieces were covered in them. The fried rice was infested. Even the moi moi, the salad, the small chops, everything was teeming with maggots. "This is impossible," the head caterer kept saying, his voice shaking. "This is impossible. The food was perfect 30 minutes ago. I checked it myself. This can't be happening." But it was happening. Right in front of 500 witnesses, our wedding feast had transformed into a nightmare. Guests were fleeing the hall now. Some were angry, demanding to know how we could serve rotten food at our wedding. Others were disgusted, covering their mouths, rushing to the bathrooms. Some were scared, whispering about supernatural causes. My mother pushed through the crowd to reach me. Her face was pale with shock. "Obiora, what is happening? How is this possible?" "I don't know, Mama. I don't understand. The food was fine. We tested everything." "This is not natural," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "This is juju. Someone has cursed this wedding." "Mama, don't start with that. Look around you," she hissed. "Food doesn't spoil like this instantly. Someone with spiritual power has done this. Someone who doesn't want this marriage." I wanted to dismiss her words as superstition. But looking at the impossible scene around me, fresh food that had been perfect minutes ago, now completely infested with maggots that had appeared from nowhere, I couldn't find a rational explanation. That's when I noticed Adaeze. She was still sitting at the high table, frozen, staring at the chaos with a strange expression on her face. Not shock, not horror, something else. Something that looked almost like recognition and fear. "Adaeze," I called out, walking back to the high table. "Adaeze, are you okay?" She didn't respond. She was staring at something, or someone, in the crowd. I followed her gaze and saw an elderly woman standing near the exit. She was dressed simply, not in aso-abi, just a plain wrapper and blouse. She was staring directly at Adaeze with an intensity that made my skin crawl. "Who was that?" I asked Adaeze. "Do you know her?" Adaeze's face had gone completely white. Her hands were shaking. "We need to leave," she whispered. "Right now? We need to get out of here." "Leave? Adaeze, what are you talking about? We need to figure out what happened. Now," she screamed, standing up so suddenly her chair fell backward. "We need to leave right now." She grabbed my hand and tried to pull me toward the back exit. But before we could move, the elderly woman pushed through the crowd and walked directly toward us. "You thought you could run away, Adaeze?" the woman said, her voice carrying across the now quiet hall. Everyone had stopped panicking and was watching this confrontation. "You thought you could hide what you are?" "Please," Adaeze whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Mama Neka, don't do this. Not here. Not now. Not here. Not now." The old woman laughed bitterly. "You destroyed my son. You destroyed my family. And you thought you could just move to Lagos, change your name, and live happily ever after?" I looked between them, confused and terrified. "Adaeze, what is she talking about? Who is this woman?" The old woman turned to me. "You want to know who I am? I am Mama Neka, from Adaeze village in Enugu. And you want to know who your wife really is?" "Stop!" Adaeze screamed. "Please stop." But Mama Neka ignored her. "Your wife is a witch. An ogbanj. An evil spirit that destroyed my family. She was engaged to my son 3 years ago, before you met her. They were planning their wedding when strange things started happening. My son fell sick, a mysterious illness no doctor could explain. He grew weaker and weaker. The native doctor we consulted told us someone close to him was feeding on his life force. That's not true." Adaeze sobbed. "I loved Chitty. I would never. You loved him so much he died 3 weeks before your wedding." Mama Neka shouted. "My healthy, strong son wasted away to nothing because of you." The native doctor confirmed it. You are Ogbanj, a spirit child who feeds on human life. You killed my son." The hall erupted in gasps and whispers. I stood there, paralyzed, unable to process what I was hearing. "After Chitty died, you disappeared from the village," Mama Neka continued. "You came here to Lagos, changed your name from Adaeze to Adaeze, and found another victim. Him." She pointed at me. "But I've been looking for you. For 3 years, I've been searching. And when I heard about this wedding, when I saw your photo on the invitation card someone showed me, I knew I'd found you." "Adaeze," I said, my voice shaking. "Tell me this isn't true. Tell me you didn't." "I didn't kill him," she cried. "I loved Chitty. His death broke me. Yes, I left the village because everyone blamed me, but I'm not a witch. I'm not Ogbanj. I'm just. Just what?" I demanded. "Finish the sentence. Tell me what you are." She looked at me with tears streaming down her face. And in that moment, I saw something change in her eyes. Something dark flickered there, just for a second. "I'm cursed," she whispered finally. "I was born with a gift I never asked for. People close to me get sick sometimes. I don't mean for it to happen. I can't control it. But I'm not evil. I'm not a witch. I carry something. Something I inherited from my grandmother. Something that sometimes feeds on the life force of people I love." The hall exploded in reaction. People were screaming now, calling her a monster, telling me to get away from her. My mother was weeping, wailing about how close we'd come to disaster. Adaeze's own family looked shocked. Some of them were crying. Others were backing away from her like she was contagious. "The Maggots," I said slowly, the realization hitting me. "This was Mama Neka. This was you." I looked at the old woman. She nodded. "I have some power too. My mother was a healer in our village. She taught me things. When I found out about this wedding, I knew I had to stop it. I knew I had to expose what she is before she killed you too, the way she killed my son. So I cursed the food. I made everyone see the rot and decay that surrounds her everywhere she goes. The maggots you saw? That's what her presence does to everything she touches. Death, decay, destruction. That's not fair." Adaeze screamed. "I'm not evil. I didn't choose this. I've tried to control it. I've been to churches, to prayer houses, to native doctors. I've tried everything to get rid of this curse. But you didn't tell me," I said quietly. All the noise around us faded as I focused on her face. "You didn't tell me that your fiancé died mysteriously. You didn't tell me you were cursed. You didn't tell me that being with you could kill me. Because I love you," she sobbed. "Because I thought maybe this time it would be different. Maybe with you, the curse wouldn't activate. Maybe I could finally be happy. At the cost of my life?" I asked. "You were willing to risk killing me just so you could be happy?" She had no answer for that. I looked around the ruined reception hall. The maggot-infested food. The terrified guests. My weeping mother. The destroyed dream of a perfect wedding. And I looked at Adaeze. Beautiful, charming, magnetic Adaeze who had hidden the truth about what she was until it was almost too late. "I can't do this," I said. "I'm sorry, but I can't marry you. Not like this. Not with this secret between us. Not knowing that I might end up like Chitty. No, please." She grabbed my arms. "Please, Obiora. We can fix this. We can find a solution. Please don't leave me. Everyone always leaves me. Please." But I pulled away. I couldn't look at her. I couldn't process the betrayal, the deception, the danger I'd been in without even knowing it. "The marriage is over before it began," my mother declared. "Thank God this woman revealed the truth before it was too late. Thank God we stopped this abomination." Adaeze collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Her family came forward to gather her, their faces filled with shame and sadness. They'd known, I realized. They'd known about her curse, and they'd said nothing, hoping maybe it wouldn't manifest, hoping maybe I'd be lucky enough to survive. The wedding ended in disaster. The guests dispersed, spreading the story throughout Lagos. Within days, everyone knew about the wedding where the food turned to maggots, where the bride was exposed as cursed, where the groom escaped death by pure luck. That was 2 years ago. I never saw Adaeze again after that day. I heard she left Lagos, went abroad maybe, trying to escape her reputation once again. I hope she found peace. I hope she found a way to break her curse. But I also know that some things are beyond human ability to fix. The annulment was quick. The marriage had never been consummated, so it was easy to dissolve legally. Spiritually, my family did numerous cleansing rituals to make sure nothing from Adaeze's curse had attached to me. I've been healthy ever since. No mysterious illnesses. No strange symptoms. I was lucky. If Mama Neka hadn't found us, if she hadn't exposed the truth, I might have ended up like Chitty, wasting away from a mysterious illness while my wife fed on my life force without even meaning to. My mother was right. It was juju, but not the kind I expected. Not a curse on the wedding. The curse was on Adaeze herself, and it had followed her from her village to Lagos, manifesting in the most public, humiliating way possible. People ask me if I still love her, if I regret leaving her on our wedding day, if I wish things had been different. The truth is complicated. Yes, I loved her. Yes, part of me still cares about what happens to her. Yes, I wish she'd been born without that curse. But I also value my life. I value my health. I value the truth. And she'd lied to me about something fundamental, something that could have killed me. Love isn't enough when one person is literally draining the life from the other. Love isn't enough when secrets that deadly are being hidden. Love isn't enough when you realize the person you married isn't who you thought they were. The wedding that should have been my happiest day became the day I learned that some secrets are too dark to overcome, that some curses are real, that the supernatural isn't just village superstition. It's real, it's dangerous, and it can destroy your life if you're not careful. I'm 32 now, still single, still healing from the trauma of that day, still processing the bizarre reality that I almost married a woman with a supernatural curse. But I'm alive, I'm healthy, and I'm free, and that's worth more than any wedding feast, even one that doesn't turn into maggots. The moral of this story? Pay attention to red flags. Ask questions about your partner's past. Don't ignore warnings from people who knew them before. And understand that not all dangers are visible. Some are spiritual, some are hidden, some are secrets buried so deep that they only surface when it's almost too late. I was lucky. The truth came out before the marriage was consummated, before the curse had fully latched onto me. But many people aren't so lucky. Many people marry into curses, into darkness, into spiritual dangers they never suspected. Be careful who you marry. Be careful what secrets they're hiding. Be careful of pasts they won't talk about, of former relationships that ended mysteriously, of families who seem uncomfortable or evasive. Because sometimes, the person you love isn't just hiding their past. Sometimes, they're hiding what they are. If this story shocked you, if it made you think about spiritual realities you've ignored, if it reminded you to be more careful about who you trust, subscribe to this channel immediately. Hit that notification bell because I share real stories about real supernatural encounters, real curses, real spiritual dangers that people face in everyday life. These aren't fiction. These are warnings. Drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced something supernatural at a wedding or major event? Have you ever discovered a partner was hiding something dark? Do you believe in spiritual curses like Adaeze, or should we dismiss them as superstition? Let's have this important conversation. Share this video with someone planning to get married. Share it with someone who needs to understand that not all dangers are physical. Share it with anyone who's rushing into marriage without fully knowing their partner's history. Thank you for listening to my story without judgment. Thank you for understanding that what happened to me is real, even if it sounds impossible. Thank you for taking spiritual realities seriously instead of dismissing them. Remember, love is important, but truth is essential. Romance is beautiful, but safety matters. Trust your instincts. Ask the hard questions. And never ignore warnings, especially when they come from unexpected sources. The old woman who cursed my wedding food saved my life. The maggots that humiliated me in front of 500 people protected me from a fate far worse than embarrassment. Sometimes, what looks like disaster is actually deliverance. Stay blessed. Stay protected. Stay aware. And may you never experience what I experienced, discovering too late that the person you married was hiding a secret that could destroy you. Until next time, be careful who you love, be wise about who you trust, and never forget that some secrets are kept hidden for very dangerous reasons.